Welcome to Pop Investments. I'm Erin Janelle Dickey, and Pop Investments is about investing in yourself, investing in assets, investing in your community. And today we have some wonderful guests, and we are so excited. And I am going to let Brian introduce our guests.
All right. First of all, I would like to point out that I've known these two ladies a very, very long time. Some since elementary, some since middle school. So I'm excited, one, that you guys agreed to do this with us tonight. To highlight some of the dope what you guys are doing back in our hometown, Albany, Georgia, but also too some of the reasoning behind why you guys are doing what you're doing. It's always great to see that you guys are investing back into the community, which is something that we definitely need. So uh, I'm going to allow them to introduce yourselves, okay, and just tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, what you majored in, how you ended up in your current position or role, and what motivated you to seek out your current position and role. So I'm going to start with who I've known the longest, which is Miss Muldrow.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rashonda Muldrow. I'm the broker owner of the Real Estate Concierge here in Albany, Georgia. And actually, my background is in management. I'm from Albany, and once I went to Albany State, I did graduate with a degree in management, and I went on to get my master's, my MBA, as well. And I somehow ended up in real estate. So Brian and I both are at Albany State, thugging it out in the business college of business. Yeah, and actually I did management for a few years, but I found a passion in real estate once my dad wanted to do residential development, so residential and commercial development. So that's how I kind of got into real estate. I really wasn't trying to be in it, but just kind of dropped my lap in and found out I was pretty good at it and loved it, had a passion for it. And I really wanted to help people realize the dream of home ownership. That's always just been my passion. First time home buyers is just a passion for me. So that's how I got into it. I've been in it now 15 years. Actually, this month is 15 years. Super excited. Thank you. Super excited about that. And once I started my brokerage, I wanted to train agents to be just as professional, to have just the amount, even more success than I had in the business. I wanted to train people to have that same thing. So that's what was my motivation, to start my brokerage. So that's where we are today, and loving real estate.
All right. Well, how do I follow that? So I'm Carla Hawkins, born and raised in Albany, Georgia. Love my hometown. I'm a product of Albany State University. I pursued business as a major. So I got my bachelor's degree in business, and then my master's in business, and about 2 classes away from my doctorate, but we'll see what happens.
Congratulations.
Because I don't need it for what I'm doing. But I love learning, and I wanted to, I knew a long time ago that I wanted to pour and invest in children and help my community, because I was so blessed to have someone and have such a powerful village to pour into me and open doors and open opportunities for me, until I really wanted to pay it forward. And I feel like I was just my whole life, from wanting to be the best babysitter, from being the oldest of my siblings, from always wanting to be around kids and help kids and create opportunities. It's just always been a part of me. So when I had an opportunity to come into the school system, and as a teacher, as a business teacher, and then was able to go into the work-based learning program, it was like a match made for me, to be able to help kids, not just in my classroom, but throughout the entire district, have opportunities to not just find any job, but find a job or an internship that aligns with their career goal. When we were back in high school, we were able just to lock out, but we had to get our own job, find our own way. Nobody was checking. It was no grades, nothing. It was just like, okay, bye. And so, and my first job was at Sears, and I took it serious. And, I thought I was doing my thing, making $6 an hour, and couldn't tell me anything. But to have someone to work with me and help develop those employability skills and understand, like, is this really what I want to do, is retail? Because for a little while I thought it was going to be retail, but now I understand the importance of helping guide kids now, so they won't waste time going to college for the wrong thing or majoring for something in 2 years and say, I changed my mind. And if you do that, that's okay. But some of my kids are saying, I want to be a doctor. So they got an internship at Phoebe, and then they realized, they saw a live birth. No, I don't want to be a pediatrician. So now they don't have to go to school and waste all that money. They're finding themselves, as some of us are still finding ourselves, but it's just great to be a part of that journey for students. And it helps me as a person to continue to develop those skills for my own self. So I'm glad to be here.
That's excellent. Quick note, that's, Carla, that's one of the reasons why I came to education, because I thought I was going to be in retail management too for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I realized that, one, I need balance in life. I didn't necessarily like to grind. So for me, coming to education to pour in the young minds just worked for me as to who I'm about, because I got to have balance. I knew I was going to want to have children one day. And if you follow me on social media, I'm at all my Stupid Kids events, or at least I try to be. And so I think that's excellent that you are, that you're intentional about your purpose and your mission, both of you all, with what you're currently doing. Rashonda, I think it's really big what you're doing for your realtors, giving them a platform for them to showcase themselves and their skill sets, you're letting them take the lead, which I think is so dope, and it's going to be able to recruit even more top-notch agents to your company and things like that. So I do want to kind of dive into the CTAE side, Ms. Hawkins. And so one of the questions I want to ask is, I know that you're currently the work-based learning coordinator for Dougherty County Schools, correct? So the first question I have for you is, one, what is work-based learning, and what is its impact on the CTAE department and school system?
Well, work-based learning, the work-based learning program is a program designed for students in the 11th and 12th grade that get the opportunity to leave school early because they have acquired the credits they need to graduate or are close to graduating. So instead of just placing them, in CTAE, as a former CTAE teacher, you would have seniors in first level classes because they just had to be placed somewhere, or they're taking extra PEs, or being stuck in chorus, just something that they absolutely did not need to graduate, but just had to be accounted for. So now these students have an opportunity to trade out up to 3 courses to substitute that time on the job and earn a course credit and get a head start on their career. The impact on CTAE is that all CTAE teachers are responsible for teaching the importance of employability skills, helping the students understand, get their resumes drafted, cover letters, interview prep, so that it can be applicable. Like, it's one thing to teach it, but sometimes you don't never see it come to fruition. How is this all full circle? So I work with CTA teachers. They're always looking for guest speakers to come in and talk about their careers. And then if that guest speaker says, I'd like to be a work-based learning partner, they can take it further than just speaking, but also open up a door for that student to become an intern with their company. And the goal is that they make such a great impression that when they get the credentials that they need, they get to be hired full time. And now I've learned what I needed to learn in my CTAE courses. I took early childhood education in high school. I said I wanted to become an owner of a daycare. I was able to be in work-based learning and intern at a daycare. And now that's my goal. Now I've achieved my goal, and I'm on track to opening my own daycare, and I have mentors. I know the pathway that I need to tread to get there. So it's this triad of CTAE courses, that pathway that you need in school, and then find that job that matches your career goal. And that's what it's all about. And it's a great impact because teachers aren't having to struggle with kids that don't want to be in their class, but they can also hold them accountable and say, hey, I want you to do great. Everything you've learned in this class, now you go take it out there on that job. And I'm Ms. Hawkins. I am here to help you make sure you refine those skills. And your intern, the companies you work for, they provide evaluations of you. So I have to work with them. Okay, you've got to come up in this area, or work a little bit more on your communication skills. But it's just a great program, and it helps everybody all the way around.
Dasher, I saw you comment that your daughter was in work-based learning. You said you love the program. Can you talk about your daughter's experience and why you love the program so?
Her experience, it was, oh, I'm making money. But at the same time, I saw where she was more responsible. She became more responsible, as far as she started going applying for jobs herself. She had 2 jobs, and I didn't even know the child had a job.
Oh, wow.
So she took the initiative. She learned that she wanted to be a teacher doing it. She went to fast food. She was in fast food, and she was like, yeah, Mom, I like it, but this is not what I want to do. So now that she's at Fort Valley Early Childhood Education, she works at a daycare, and she works at a retail store, and she's a nanny to 4 autistic children.
Wow. Love it.
So I'm just like, this can't be the same child that was always mama. But just taking that step. And she also has her own online boutique for plus size women. That's something she started. I didn't know anything about that.
Wow.
That's wonderful. So I'm sure that definitely gave her a lot of confidence.
Wow.
And let me ask you, Carla, how many do you know offhand how many students that you have in the WBL program in Dougherty County right now?
There are 229, the last I counted, and that spans over 3 high schools and the 4C Academy.
Okay.
So it's a lot.
So now let's talk about, you talked about a little bit how the students can kind of benefit. How do employers benefit who are partnering with you guys for the WBL program?
That's a great question. I want to say hi to Monica and Erica, but because of Monica's a parent of one of the students in my program. But the businesses, I've had so many supervisors tell me, just bring me more kids like this. And, I had an attorney's office. The student that was interning there, she graduated. She was like, can you find me another student? When you have people telling you like, these kids are coming in here, they're eager, they want to learn. And see, they know they have to get a grade. So this is not a get out of school free card. This comes with some responsibility. So they have a lot of accountability behind them. So that's different than somebody coming on a job. Like, I just want to get paid. I'm just here for, I'm here because I need this money. They don't have someone checking them, meeting with them on a monthly basis, holding them accountable to certain things. So the supervisor have to deal with whatever they have to deal with. These students know that there's a lot on the line. Their GPA, graduating on time, because it counts, it matters. So the employers are impressed. And that's why I really like to keep the kids motivated, and to know that there's a community of people like you all, especially like Rashonda, that are taking out time to show up, to highlight them, to support them, that lets them, I told them about this podcast tonight, and I'm going to talk about it again this week, to let them know, like, people care. There are people out here that give a care, and so that matters, and that gives them that extra. I have to come pop in and visit them. So the supervisors are like, okay, Ms. Hawkins is here. And the kids are like, hi, Ms. Hawkins. They're not even ashamed, because they know they're going to get a good report from their supervisor. So it's a win-win. And they get these the young workforce that hopefully will stay for the long run. So that's a plus. The turnover rate is not high. So that's always a plus for employers.
Absolutely. Rashonda, I want to ask you, how did you and Carla come about to form? Because I want to talk about what you guys, the program that you're doing, and you're working with Carla, but I want to know, how did you guys come together, and how did you end up on the WBL advisory board?
Well, I can't say it had to be God put this together, because Carla, I mean, we've known each other, from high school and passing and,
Yeah.
being at Albany State, but we've never really just like worked on something together.
Yep.
So Carla reached out. I forgot, I don't know exactly how it, but I ended up at her office because I was just like, listen, I'm an advisory member of one of the other high school CTAE program.
Yep.
And I just feel like we not getting all, that we can give, and I just kind of, she just let me come in her office and just vent. On that day, she just let me vent, and then she was like, okay, this is what we can do. So she came with a solution, and it was just kind of, one thing after the next from there. Like, she put me on the invite and I started attending the meetings, and now I'm, over 2 committees, and it's just like been nonstop. Like, she took I would say my complaint, and she just, made a way for me to fix it, or made for us to work together and fix it. And it's just kind of been on from there.
Yep.
So talk about your program that you got that you're doing, this pipeline that you're building of future real estate moguls.
So what had happened was, I was talking to Carla, and I was telling her about my event that was coming up, my gala, my 15-year anniversary gala. And so I was just like, I want to do something. I didn't want to just have the event and just like feed everybody and send them home. I was like, no, I got a captive audience. Let me see how I can, capture their attention and, really get them to buy into what I see. So right before the event, I spoke to my dad about it. I was like, I kind of want to do something extra. And I said, being that it's 15 years, to me, it's $500 for a child to go to, or anyone to go to real estate school. And I said, 15 divided by 5. I said, if I can get 33, 32 people to just commit to $15, I said, I would have enough to give at least one scholarship that night, So he was like, yeah, that'll be a good idea. So we was just vibing off each other, talking. So Carla was coming to the event anyway. So I was like, Carla could come, and she can, even give her presentation about work-based learning and tell how we can tie that into the students. My plan is to get 2 interns in my office this year. I've interviewed a few, but things didn't work out right away, but I'm going to get 2 interns here to physically work in the office. And those could be the students. They don't necessarily have $500 right away to pay for school. Right. So my plan was to provide, if they do really well here, provide them with the scholarships so that they can just go ahead and keep furthering their experience in real estate. That was just my thought process. So actually that night at the gala, I ended up with 3 scholarships, enough money for 3 scholarships. And I was just like, just by asking and just by Carla getting up there, talking and really expressing her passion, showing her passion about work-based learning. And the people were like, yes. And a matter of fact, the link, we had a giving link up there on the screen. It didn't even work, but people still were calling me, inboxing me, cash apping, everything, still trying. How can I give? Can I mail you a check? Can I do this? And I was like, yeah. So we've been overwhelmed with people trying to donate because they believe in what we're trying to do. So that's just exciting me even more. So I'm thinking I'm going to make it an annual thing now because it's gotten bigger than I anticipated. But my plan is just to give them the in-office experience. Partner them with like my top agents. They're going to be out working, as much as they can do as an unlicensed person, which will hopefully motivate them and say, hey, if I can do this unlicensed, let me go and get my license and literally join the workforce immediately. Like, not saying that, they don't have to go to college, because they really don't. But if college isn't for them, I just want to provide them another opportunity, another way. College isn't for everyone. So maybe they will pick up real estate and be like, really good at it and go in sales and just be great. So that's my only thing, just to give them exposure. That's just, they can make a decision from there.
You mentioned, Aaron, did you want to jump in right quick? I'm sorry.
You all working together in that collaboration just gives me chills, and I want to come to your event next year. So and post a link as well on this so we can donate. And it's just amazing what we can do together. So the providing those scholarships, hearing you talk, I'm like, I wish I would have had something like that.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm elated about these opportunities that you all are giving to our young people. Like, kudos to you all.
Yeah. Can I just say this?
Yeah.
This was Rashonda's time to shine. Y'all understand that? This was her celebrating 15 years, a milestone for her company. And she's like, I'm not going to let it be all about me. I'm gonna think about others. I'm gonna raise money for students. I mean, it's like I'm still on a high from it. I still have chills because I'm like, what in the world? Even when I was there and she was like, okay, we're gonna ask Carla to come up and speak. I'm like, this is unreal. This is unreal. Who gives up some of the spotlight, and take a commercial break from celebrating themselves to talk about something that is beyond us, like our future? And I told my kids, I was like, yo, you got some scholarships coming. And they're like, Miss Hawkins, for real? Oh, they were so excited. So I cannot thank you enough, Rashonda, for taking out that moment. And it is so much, like you said, it's so much bigger than we both know, really. Time will tell, the impact that had. And if I had been in high school, I know for sure I would have been a real estate agent.
Me too.
Right. Me too.
It's so funny. You said, by as an aside, I was supposed to have been there that night.
Oh,
I went to LA the weekend before, and when I came back with COVID.
yeah.
So I was quarantined in my oldest son's room because he lives in Mexico. I was quarantined in his room for 3 or 4 days. I was so upset because I had every intention on going, and I do appreciate the invitation. As I look at the pictures and I saw how y'all looked, and I seen the videos. Shout out to was it Street Team? Was it Street Team?
Street Dreams.
Shout out to Street Dreams. You did a magnificent job of capturing Rashonda's event. It was so elegant. And I was like, man, I got to be there next year. Then, if you're gonna do this every year, I got to make sure I'm there next year. It was a beautiful event. I mean, from everything I've seen, first class all the way. I hear you both talking about. I want to kind of come back to the whole everybody's not meant for college thing, and I want to talk about what you guys see in the state of the Albany community right now. When you guys are driving, as you're listening to the news and things like that, like what do you guys see, and how has that really kind of sort of fueled you in this work that you're doing, trying to create opportunities for these students?
I go first. So being a small business owner here in Albany is a challenge within itself. It is a true challenge within itself. But I truly feel like if you can do it in Albany, you can do it anywhere, really. So I see Albany as an untapped gold mine. Like a lot of people, it hasn't realized its full potential, if any. It's very, and a lot comes out of Albany. Look at you all, wonderful people, smart minds, everything you've done well. And it's so much of that here. And I just look at the youth and say, that's the same thing in them. What we have in us, we just got to tap into it. And I realized we had people in our lives that, gave us as much as they could or as much as their resources would allow. Yeah. So that's why I'm so passionate about looking at, our kids, not just as a number or statistic. I want each individual. I wish I could just hug them all like Carla does and just pour into each one of them and say, listen, just because you're from Albany does not mean you can't go, you can go anywhere from here. It does not matter. This is just home. It's going to always be here. So what I try to do is not get discouraged. I hear a lot, people from out of town. Why you still there? Why I get that all the time. You would be great here. You be great there. Yeah, but I have a purpose here right now for this season. Not saying I went, because I did move away. I moved away at Fort Lauderdale, got my degree, stayed down and worked, but ended up back here. So it's not that I've ever desired and not desired to go anywhere. It's just the purpose pulls me here. And I gotta see this through. I gotta get it, gotta check that box off. Because it's gonna always be open if I don't check it off. So my having a business here just fuels me and allows me to do that and to be that change. Like Carla and I are on Leadership Albany 2023. Yes. So we're in that class, and that even we've only been in it a month now, month and a half. And even with that, he's opened my eyes to so much in the community. I'm from Albany, been here all but a few years of my life, but it's still even being involved with that, the different leaders in the community and just seeing stuff. It's like, okay, I'm making a mental checklist. Okay, I need to connect with them because they can do this. I need to connect with them. It's just so much. And I'm just thinking, okay, if I can just focus on one thing, and to me, kids are my thing. That's first time home buyers and kids. That's what my heart is. So I can pour into that, and I know it'll have a residual effect of going around. So yes, it's tough to have business here, but it's endless possibilities. it's possible. It takes a little extra work, and being able to have people like you that I can, connect to and think outside of Albany, and you all have been exposed to other things. As long as I have those conversations, that just kind of fuels me to keep going and say, okay, what they're doing up there, maybe I can do some kind of remnant of that here and make it work. So that's what helps me with business. And it isn't all doom and gloom for me here in Albany. It's home, but it's not all doom and gloom.
Listen, I can just I feel the exact same way. When I tell you I love Albany, Georgia, and everywhere that I go, I am putting it on the map. I tell my students, I say it is not so much about the city, it's who you are connected with and who you surround yourself with, what you're doing, like the positive things that you're involved in. People in big cities are miserable too. Everybody, there's no perfect city. It's just, what are you doing? What are you doing to be the change that you wish to see? And I told them, I travel, I go places, and people are like, where are you from? I'm like, Albany. And they quickly say Albany, New York. And I'm like, no, Albany, Georgia, the good life city. And I want my kids to stay in Albany State, like, kind of, keep working on yourself. But of course they're ready to go. And the main city, they say, because they're not exposed to as much. So they're just like, oh, I want to go to Atlanta. I want to move to Atlanta. I'm like, Atlanta is full. They do not want.
They really don't. Like, they are always talk about something. We fool. Go somewhere else.
Exactly. And so Albany, there's so, like Rashonda said, it's so much opportunity. As far as like me, what I'm doing to be the change, like, of course, the children are my purpose, and it is about connecting. I'm really big on connections, because not one person can do it all. But even like she mentioned, the Leadership Albany class, my work-based learning advisory board, and I'm still connected with people I graduated, high school and college. I'm still connected, elementary, middle school. I'm still connected with these people, and they're wanting to pour in. We can share and collaborate and make Albany everything that it needs to be. People leave and they say, oh, it's nothing in Albany. Well, you left. Like, you want to do something about it. It's some of us, and it's okay, like Rashonda said, to leave if and venture if that's what you feel you need to do. But let's not complain. And people, I get, that's a triggering phrase when people are like, oh, you're still in Albany. I'm like, yes, absolutely. What do you mean? Because I feel that it is, and I understand Rashonda's sentiment. Is not so much of oh, it's just a small city, it's not much to do. To me, it's a lot to do. It's a lot to do. But if you have in your mind, like, I'm a product of this community, I grew up, I want to give back, you will always find things to do. If I want to go to the Cheesecake Factory, I will go up the road, go get me a cheesecake, and I'm coming back home. And continue to pour into my community, support businesses that are making a difference. Right now, we're working on some events with work-based learning, and we want to, and someone said, like, let's allow the downtown businesses to be a part of this venture. Let's work together, like, so we don't go to like maybe a store, a franchise. We have local businesses that we can support, and we're learning more ways, and we're going to be learning even more about how we can exact change in this community. And because of the people, the human capital here, and people that I have brought, that come visit, they're like, man, we love it here, the hospitality. This Southern hospitality, it's like, we love it here. And I'm like, and they're just around my family and my friends, or they come to church with me and they're like, what in the world? Because maybe that's not their experience. So I don't like for a negative connotation to be on Albany because it's small, or, looking for the negatives. There are negatives everywhere. But the question is, what are we doing to make it a positive?
And that's what I put. I was like, I hope she didn't answer that question. I was putting in quotation marks what you were saying, because that's, hey, what are you doing to be the change? And I love it. Like you said, I love Albany. So, and I call it Albany. Would everybody say, where you from? I'll say, I'm from Albany. They'll say, that's not how you say it. I say, you're right. I'm from Albany, Georgia. That's exactly where I'm from. And I meet a lot of people in the great Albany State. I graduated from Albany State University. And there are some amazing students at ASU. And we've got John. We'll shout out John. He's doing some amazing things with those students at Albany State University. So there are some great things that are happening. And it's great that we highlight and we have these conversations so people see, oh, you know, if it had it not been for this live, because you know, our streams, they don't show you everybody that you're connected with. So like Rashonda, we're friends on Facebook, but I don't see her content. But now I see her content and I know what she's doing. And now, Carla, we know what you're doing. And Shonda, I saw you, or Daisha, I saw you nodded when they mentioned about living in Albany. So what are your thoughts about that? Because you're there, and she also does some work as well with women, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same. There's so much to offer here. The talent here, I think, you know, it's different now than, of course, when we were in school, because we had people that cared, really cared about us in schools, in the system. And now it's like the people that actually care about the children and their futures are having to fight the system for them to get what they need. And it shouldn't be that way. And that's, you know, Carla's talking about tapping into all of that. That plays a big part into, you know, why they say it's negative. Well, you're not tapping into it, but you're calling out all the negative things. What are you doing? Like Carla said, what are you doing to be the change? You can't tell a kid you're doing this is negative, but you're not giving them an example or resources to help them, you know, move or go into a positive direction. And Brian, you mentioned about with Rashonda, you know, the careers that, you know, college is not for everyone. And in the real estate field, how many of our children know about being a home inspector? How important that is needed. How many of our children know that mortgage companies have these mobile notaries that they can have income, a side income, or it could be just their business? It's those different things that we don't tell our children about. It's always college. College is not for everyone. And I think that is the biggest thing that deters children so much, is because we're always harping on, you need to go to school. It's not for everyone.
Because I think, and we talked about this before, people don't want to have, I guess, what the social stigma of, oh, little Jane ain't go to college, or where's he
Like
from?
they feel.
You have to say,
Yeah,
oh,
like
he's
they
not in
feel.
college now. You know, because my thing is this: you have home inspectors, you have people who need to be HVAC people for these new homes. Well, there's a whole bunch of homes going up everywhere, and you need inspectors, you need HVAC people, you need people to do the electrical wiring, and these are the people who are certified in trades that don't necessarily go the collegiate route. So I kind of want to tap into a little bit, because first of all, I don't think people realize, I think the average student debt is like $40-some thousand, or maybe it's broken up by private versus federal loan and things like that. So talk about the conversations, Carla, that you have with students and their parents. If you talk with their parents about, you know, maybe suggesting an alternative route for their child versus, you know, the rhetoric of going to college. Because when I talked to Rashonda last week, Rashonda straight, and Rashonda, you mind me sharing this, Rashonda's like, I'm doing something I really didn't need to go to college for this. I mean, now, let's be real. You run the business now. Your MBA has to serve you well now. But I'm talking about, you could have got started, and you could have, and she could have financed school herself, you know. So, Carla, talk about some of these conversations that you've had with students and some of their parents, and the courageous conversations centered around, hey, maybe this might be a better route for your child versus college.
Yeah, the conversations are real, and when students apply, they put on their application where they see themselves 5 to 10 years from now. They put their career goals. Some have no desire whatsoever to go to college, and I say, okay, so let's make a plan. It's because I'm a firm believer college is not for everyone, and it is for who it is for. But when I think on my experiences, my job experiences, that's where I've gained the most education from my career, my career track. But whether they want to go into the military or an electrician, and I have a student. He said he just wants to be a stalker. And I asked, I'm like, why? Why just a stalker? And at first I was just like, okay, what's behind that? But he was just like, I just think I'll just be good. I'm not good at much. So then I'd be like, okay, you come here. Now let's talk. Because now we're having to talk about why do you think so little of yourself that this is all you can do or you're capable of doing. So it goes beyond even just talking about jobs and careers. It goes to pour it into these students to really believe in themselves and to know that they can do anything that they want to do. And when I have had events, because before I came into this work-based learning position and I was a CTAE teacher at Monroe, I had what I call the dream team. And it was during the month of February. And it was my friends that I went to school with, and they're all over the country. And we were virtual at that time, well, halfway virtual. So they were just virtual guest speakers, and I had a guest speaker every day, sometimes twice a day. So my kids could learn about all the different type of careers. One of the guest speakers didn't go to college. He was all into sports, started his own not football, boxing gym. Then he started getting into, he started talking about the rap game. He came in person, showing the kids his tattoos, letting them know that, let me tell y'all, I ain't go to school, but I done been around some of the biggest and the greatest and the best and the richest. And they was just like, can we get his number? Can he be our mentor? And I was like, hey, okay, we're not gonna give his number out, but some of the guys who were kind of clueless on what they wanted to do, and they felt like, are we gonna be in these streets? They were like, we can do it the smart way. He said he was from the streets, but he found a legit way to maneuver. And college was not for him, but yet he has been successful. Those kids were so inspired. So you have to bring people, not all just polished, fluent speakers, well educated. You have to bring a variety of people in front of the students and let them know there's different ways to go. When I talk to the parents, a lot of the parents are like, why are you helping my kid? Can you help me?
That's
so it goes deep.
Yeah.
And they're just thankful for the opportunity. They're like, I don't care where you put my kid, I just need help with these bills. You see what I'm saying? So it's so many layers. With the students, is so I've had kids, can I stay with you? I'm having issues. Can I stay with you until I graduate? My heart wants to say yes, but no, we can't do that. So I have to figure out, okay, now let's talk to the counselor. Let's see what we can do. Let's see some it's so many layers, y'all. But the main thing, if we can give them hope and let them know that there is a way out of no way, and that it does not have to look to the left or the right, trying to keep up and compete. You find your lane. Here's somebody who has your same or similar background, and they're here now. So that's what it's about.
And I
Charles,
think that's so, I'm
go ahead,
sorry,
Amy.
Brian. I think it's so important that we as educators know our role, because you're right. There are so many students that need us. So when you're in the presence of them, you have to motivate them. You have to give them those tools. And something that Brian and I and Daisha, we've talked about is the importance of CTAE and how important it is, because we're giving these kids a foundation for the future. So that is so important. So just what you said, I agree with. Brian.
I was gonna say Charles Barkley always talks about how he says, I don't have a college degree, but a whole lot of them with college degrees sure work for me. And that's a real statement. Like that's real. And I think what he was hinting at is everybody has a talent. And everybody has a specialized skill. You have to find that and hone in on that. And I promise you, the rest will make room for you. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important for us to have these crazy conversations. I've had conversations with my own wife like, hey, we may have to wrap our head around if our kids decide, hey, they don't want to go to college, then we need to come together with a plan to help them through a path of success of some sort,
Right.
because everybody knows just having a high school diploma and you know and just working is not going to be the path to financial prosperity. So,
Mhm.
what is your plan, and how do you plan to work that plan so that you can be financially stable and get to a place of financial prosperity to where now your debt to income ratio isn't so high because of student loan debt.
Yeah.
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 And
I
like,
just
and
want to
then
add.
teaching them. Oh, yes.
No, I just want to add something real quick. I remember my last semester in college, just being transparent. I told my mom and dad, I'm not finishing school. And I had one more semester. It was two classes. I saw a lot of people cheating. I just saw where it wasn't. It looked to me. It was like, it's just a piece of paper. It's a who you
Mhm.
know world. I'm gonna figure this thing out. I'm gonna use my talents. And of course they say you will finish school. We don't know what you're talking about. Now I'm glad I listened. But if they had said, you know what, we're going to support you, I was not going to register that last semester. And I was very confident that I was still going to be successful. But, now we have student loans that I'm still paying on. So, but we also promote youth science assessments, career assessments, and we
Mhm.
encourage the students to take these to find what those skills, because they may not know, but though the assessments are really telling. So we're encouraging youth
Mhm.
science and other career aptitude assessments to help them figure things
Mhm.
out too.
Do you use? I know one of the ones I use is the Holland Code career
Oh,
assessment, career inventory. That's what I use with my middle school students that I teach.
oh, okay. I'm gonna
Mhm.
look into that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look into it. I really like it. And it's very. They basically break it down to six different type of personality types. And it shows the careers. And what I do with my students every year is at the beginning of the semester, I give them that career inventory and have them take a look at, okay, here's your personality type. These are different careers that kind of fit your personality type. Because I want them to understand that you do something that, you know, you have a passion and skill for naturally, you'll never work a day in your life.
True.
I just want to add too. I know I've been keeping up with Governor Kemp's addresses to the state and how he was saying about the workforce and like the future of it, and how we're really needing those that workforce to be built. And I think about how the CTAE program plays into that, and how it's going to take us working together to fuel that. And even like with Dacia's daughter, I just think about when you say she started this business, she's doing this, and that was because she saw it. She was exposed
Yes.
to it and she
Right.
took it and ran. I just think about how many students like her, all they need to do is just give them a glimpse of what could be. And they
Mm-hmm.
just take it off instead of just assuming, well, they're not gonna do anything, because if we live with them every day, we kind of know their habits and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know these students would shock us, once they're given just the tools that go, I can just only imagine. And so that's something that's what helped me to buy into the CTAE program and the work-based learning program, because I'm thinking this is an untouched workforce right here that we have right now. We can still shape them and mold them and give them skills that they probably wouldn't get anywhere else. So I don't know. That's just my passion, my buy-in to it. So I was impressed, and I know a lot of other businesses, they don't even know about the work-based learning program. I'm saying like as a state. So Carla does a great job going around here speaking to the different businesses and just saying, hey, if you need to fill those last 5 spots, consider my students. And the
Mm-hmm.
longevity of the program. They're juniors, so they're going to be here another year at least, or another 2 years. Tap into that, and she's really helped to help those business owners understand, you have access to these students, what could be beneficial, mutually beneficial to both parties.
That's right.
And I also think that, with the work-based learning, it also exposes our children to different careers
Mhm.
outside of the traditional, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a nurse.
That's
You know,
right.
they don't see other things because it's limited here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and also with that, um, the nerdy kids, the science and all that, it's like, what do you do with that? What do
Mhm.
you do with the biology degree?
Mhm.
What does that
Yeah.
entail? So, having Carla putting them in these places to figure out different things is like sometimes just that little thing will tap into something that was never tapped into, and they find out who they are and what they want to do.
Yeah.
And experiential learning is the best learning anyway. And like you said earlier, Carla, when you introduced yourself, you were talking about what you do. A lot of times they have this idealistic view about what it is they want to do, may have been planted in their head by their parents, and they bought and believe that. And then they get a WBL experience, and it's like, oh shoot, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing the healthcare pathway or whatever, and
Exactly.
you say, hey, I want to be a nurse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, you know what? I don't want to clean up somebody else's,
Right.
when they go on
Yeah.
themselves. I don't have to insert a catheter. Like, I
That's
don't want
right.
to have to deal with that. Or maybe, like in my case, my mom was a nurse, but I was never going to be a nurse because I'm squeamish. I was just watching House with my wife last night, and I saw some blood, and I had to turn away from the screen. Like, oh, goodness. Oh, wow, goodness. But anyway, you have to have this so you'll know, and it's better to find out earlier. And then also to now, okay, well, if you still want to work in healthcare, here are other careers. You might want to try this. You might want to be a radiology tech or something like
Yeah.
that.
And there's so many different opportunities and so many people coming up to the table wanting to share their careers. Like I'm learning. I'm still learning. You all have named some up here and I'm like, I need to find, a home inspector. Ooh, I need to find,
Right.
because I'm like, the more I hear and the more I'm out, or, posting on social media and people inbox me, I'm just like, yes, let me learn more about your career. Yes, you can come talk to my students. I even try to find guest speakers for CTAE teachers, especially this month is CTAE month. So this is a big push for career. So the timing of this podcast is so perfect. But I was sitting here thinking, of just like the benefit, and like Rashonda said, people not knowing about it. Work-based learning should be something everybody knows about. And I'm not talking about just my program, everywhere. It's statewide. And it's offered in most high schools. And when I think back on my high school experience, I made my own work-based learning experience. And when I graduated high school, I thought I wanted to be CEO of Phoebe. And I share this story so many times. Every time I get a new group of students, I tell them I thought I was going to be the CEO of Phoebe. And I kept bugging him and his assistant until they let me meet him. And it was Mr. Joel Wernick at the time. And I was just getting to college. They finally put me on the schedule. I go in the office with my briefcase that I got as a graduation gift from someone very special in my life who believed in me, another key point. So made me believe that I could go into this room with the CEO and tell him that I want your job. Because he asked me, he said, how can I help you? I said, I want to be the next CEO of Phoebe. And I took out my little notepad. So tell me how you got to where you are. And he was like, what? And that spun into me getting a job at Phoebe, an entry-level position, me being able to present that experience I was a freshman and I was presenting in junior and senior college courses on how to network and go out there and get those type of careers. But when I got into Phoebe, and I support, they're one of my partners, love Phoebe, but I didn't want to be CEO no more because I'm like, he doesn't have time to work with the children. Because I wanted to be a pediatrician, and I was like, I don't really like science that much, so I just own the hospital. But I'm like, he doesn't have time. He's always in meetings, and I was like, no. So that it was like if I hadn't taken those steps or taken the initiative, I wouldn't have known until I found out later. So that's why it's such a benefit, for businesses support, for parents to support, for school systems to fully support work-based learning programs, because these kids are our future. Written like literally, they are our future. We don't want them wasting their time. We want them to get all that they need to get, whatever the experience is, so that they're equipped with what they need when we need them.
Right.
And it's another thing I just thought about, Carla, with work-based learning. Most children, they want the careers with the money, all the money. So when they see what it is going to cost them to get this money, it's like,
no,
I'll pass.
That's true. And to that point, when I told them about the real estate scholarship, then they were like, oh, I want to go into real estate. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No. You put something else on your application. Miss Hawkins, I changed my mind. Can I change my mind? I'm like, listen, now if we're gonna do this, I said
Right.
we're gonna get some education. I'm gonna have to get Miss Rashana to come in and talk to y'all because
Mhm.
you think it's just easy peasy. You're just looking at the scholarship, but it's a lot of hard work. And real
And
estate students
and
who already indicated they want to be real
right.
estate agents, they have a reason. They know their why. I have them write why statements. What is your why? Because
Mhm.
that's super important. So I don't want them thinking, because they'll try to jump ship real quick when they learn the salary or learn the opportunity for money and they were like, well, we want to be, we want, Miss Hawkins, you talked about multiple streams, so we just want to be it all,
Mhm.
so you have to try to focus them.
Yeah, and to that end, I've also had the opportunity to work with Albany State students who have reached out. Miss Shout out to Miss Deidre Williams over at the honors program over at Albany State. At the time, she was over the honors program. She sent me an awesome student, and that young lady has been with me. She's actually my director of operations now. So she started
Ooh.
as a freshman. And
Wow.
I made her promise me. I said, she's from Savannah. Her name is Shelby. Shout out Shelby. But she started out with me as a freshman, and Deidre sent her over to me. We interviewed, gave her that interview so she can have that experience. It was very official. And once she started working, I made her promise me that she would not quit school because I knew, once she got in there and was working and really working, she might second guess. I was like, listen, your mama didn't send you from Savannah to not finish school. So we had that agreement. She graduated last May. So she started in August as my director of operations because she had been with me that long for 4 years, or 3.5, 4 years. And she got her license I think her senior year or junior year. So she started working like immediately in the field. So from that, she was reaching out to like her friends started seeing what she was doing, so they wanted an intern too. And of course, I had the opportunity, the space available, so I brought on another intern. And I do have an intern now. Her name is Edith. Edith is on the basketball team at Albany State. She's a junior. So that's what I like to see. Like, they're still going to do the school part, but they showed the initial, like with Edith. Edith reached out to me randomly on an email, very professional. I was so proud. I emailed the director of career service, say this child needs some recognition. She reached out to me on her own and said, hey, I want to be in real estate. I want to do this and that. And I literally hired her on the spot because I was so impressed how she presented herself. Right. So it's good to have that buy-in already, that if they show me a little bit of initiative that they wanted or whatever, I can take it from there. I can work with that. So that's another thing that I'll be looking for with this scholarship. I'm not gonna just pass them out here, everybody get a scholarship. No, you actually gotta, have some interest, a level of interest, and show me that, listen, if you give me this scholarship, I'm gonna do something with it, basically. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited.
And that's refreshing that they understand, because sometimes in this generation, they tend to think that if they just show up, that you should just throw a parade for them. It's nice to hear that we have young people in this generation who understand that you still have to show and prove. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not for anyone demanding and knowing what their worth is, as long as you understand that you have to demonstrate that worth in perpetuity.
Right.
So to hear that is refreshing. I wanted to ask you guys, how surreal is it that you guys are able, like when you hear a story like that, Rashonda, and you think about how you've been able to basically help jumpstart these careers? Like, what kind of feeling is that?
It's unreal. Like, I think I celebrated their first closing more than I, celebrated my own, because I know what it can do for you, not only financially, but just your boost of confidence. Mm-hmm. And you're helping another family, to me, a house is the groundwork, sets the foundation for a family and building and financial security and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I teach when we're in our sales meeting. I'm teaching the importance of that. So to actually see them go and act like, this is my newest intern, Edith. She had her first closing like 3 weeks ago. And I think she's still a little bit in shock, and she's having another closing next week. And it's just like, she's like, I'm really doing this. I'm like, yeah, you doing it, So I don't know. It's just, I can't put it in words how excited it makes me, because not only are they doing something impactful to community, but they're doing something impactful for themselves. And it's keeping her wanting to, keep striving. It's like a high you can't satisfy. It's just going to keep chasing it. Like, she's already She's being more responsible with setting her meetings with me. I don't have to even ask, both of them. They say, okay, I need you to sit down with me in the one-on-one coaching, just helping them to develop themselves, as productive citizens and even as professionals. So that feeling, I just can't, I don't know, I can't explain it. It does a lot for me. And I can say, being in real estate, it is cyclical, the emotional side of it. You don't know what the market is doing, the uncertainty, but that constant in my life as their broker is that they're going to always keep, pushing and striving. And as long as they keep going, I'm going to help them. So that's what helps me.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I love that. My end of it is students emailing me or texting me, thank you, Miss Hawkins, for making this opportunity come. Or the one student emailed me recently and said, thank you for helping me get my dream job. And I'm like, like, oh goodness, let me get back up. Let me get back to running. It's like, no matter how tired you be and how hard you go, it's like, just to know that they're they have this hope and they're starting to see something like a goal become a reality. And it's just amazing. I have a student who just started. I did a live video Friday about Q's Cakes here in Albany, and I have a student who want to be a baker. So Miss Q is the best. She's well known in this area, and she's done a lot of things with Paula Dean. And she has a book. She has her own business. She's doing a lot of great things in this community. And she opened up a door for that student, and the student was just like, I cannot believe I'm working with Miss Q. She's like a mentor to Miss Hawkins. I'm like, that's so great. I'm like, you make the most of it. You make the absolute most of it. You stay connected to her, and because she's going to open up and expose you to a lot, and because she's well connected. And my motto for my program, the students know, we had a meeting last Friday and I have 2 more tomorrow. I'm like, what do I always say? And they say, be about that business. Because it's like you said, Brian, they have to show up. They have to show their worth. And if they're not stepping up to the plate, I'm like, okay, now let's take some accountability. Let's talk about why this opportunity didn't work out for you. What could you have done differently? And I'm like, it's no one's upset. It's just room for growth. Let's learn the lesson here and then try again for the next one. But when they understand and grasp that I have to be about that business to make some things happen for me and for me to get my dream internship or job, and it pays me more than what the paycheck could ever pay me.
Yeah, I think that if people understand that they just capitalize and utilize their gifts, the gifts will make room for them, and everything else will take care of itself. And it's not. I love, Rashawn, I never told you this, but you've always said, when you went in real estate, it was never about the money for you. It never was. You've always said, it's about people being first-time home buyers, building a pathway for financial stability. Like, you've been saying that for 15 plus years. I've never heard you mention money. Wow. Not one single time. It was always about helping families. Every post I saw, every time I would come home or we chat, or we would come home and I would come home and have these little impromptu kickbacks at Rhonda's.
Yep.
I didn't even know it. I was like, hey, Rashonda, we got about 30 people coming through tonight. Right. And she's like, Brian. I would do that every time I would come home. But then we would talk, and that's all she said. It's just beautiful to see, like, how things have come full circle. So, I mean, I think that's just wonderful. And I think it's great that you are telling your agents the same thing. Like, when you're talking and coaching them, this is about the experience for the home buyers. So I think that's great.
And I have to teach it because the money you chasing it will wear you down. If you're chasing, that will wear you down. So you have to have another why. You have to have another reason to do it, because you'll be disappointed. I mean, buyers change their minds, sellers quit. It's a lot that has to go into a transaction to make it work. So if you're so tied to the dollar so much, you will quit this business because
Mhm.
it'll stress you out. It'll
Or,
do a
or underwriting will throw it in wrench at the
oh
last
yeah,
second.
that's not a
You
good
know?
underwriter. Yes. So you got to have another why to stay into
Mhm.
it, to have longevity. You'll have a couple of one-hit wonders that are, hit a couple of times, but they'll disappear because they never tied it to something else besides the dollar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what I'm realizing is when you go after your dreams, you make room for others. And like
Yes.
you, Rashonda, going after your dreams, you literally are making room for others. You're giving them that foundation that they need. And we talked about a long time ago about young people and violence. And this is what it is. We need to be able to teach because, like, I'll tell everyone, I made financial mistakes in my 20s and 30s. But it's amazing that with young people,
40s too.
Right.
right, and 40s, but y'all, we've got to teach them how to build, like, and that's
Yeah.
what you're doing, like how to build and create wealth. When
Right.
you are real estate and you're learning the ends and you're learning finances,
Mhm.
you can give to so many people.
Mhm.
You can pour
Yes.
into so many people.
Yeah.
So I congratulate you for that.
Thank
I
you.
really do.
Thank you.
And
Yep.
we're at our 1 hour mark, and we try not to go over an hour.
Okay.
But then I do want to say, Carla, I am so proud of you. CTAE is, again, it's my baby. I kind of fell into CTAE, but I fell in CTAE because I ended up in a career. I was like, kind of like, didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to college, but I didn't go to college for it specifically what I wanted
Yeah.
to. So then I was like, I want to teach these students about careers. And what I realized, y'all, we got a lot of young entrepreneurs. So
Mhm.
Yes.
that
Yes.
entrepreneurship is amazing because they are, I mean, I've got some babies that are some cosmetologists making
Mhm.
money.
Yes. Yes.
Literally. So I just love CPAE and I love anyone as passionate. Carla, as passionate as you are about it, that just
Thank
makes my
you.
heart. I mean, I'm just so excited because I look and I see how passionate you are about
Mhm.
CTAE and
Thank
your
you.
students. And that's what we need. We need educators like yourself.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
And,
You're
Thank
and I
you.
must,
welcome.
and I must admit, I said this before. You guys may have heard this, but I've said this before. Like I used to teach math, and then I decided, you know what, I'm done with this. And so I said I'm going to CTAE side, and it has been the best career decision I've ever made
Yeah.
because you have to have one a heart for these students, and
Mhm.
also two, I'm able to bring my experiences and my missteps into
Yes.
my classroom teaching. Say, hey y'all, I messed up doing this. Hey y'all, let me tell y'all a
Yeah.
story about this kid who was in Jacksonville and who just did not stack up any bread. He
Yeah.
just partied all the time. And I look back all of my life, I could have been home on it sooner, you
Yeah.
know. But these different mistakes, so you have to have a heart for it. So, Carla, again, I commend you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. This is great and very affirming.
And before we leave, everybody, I would like for everyone to just give like some type of motivation to everyone out there. And we'll start with because Dasha, you're right beside me, and then we'll go to Carla, then we'll go to Rashonda and Brian.
Okay.
Um, find your way. Your way doesn't have to be, what my best friend is doing over here, or
Mhm.
even what my parents want me to be.
Hmm.
Find your way, find your niche in life. Find someone that is going to help you. Don't be afraid to ask and say, hey, if it's Miss Carla, look, I want to do this. I don't know where I want to start. I want to do this. How do I do it? It's just finding that connection, like they said, and just be you. Be you, be real, have a work ethic.
Love it. I would say to add on to that, and one of my favorite quotes is "Be the change. Be the change you wish to see," and and connect with the right people. There's a video I saw this morning. It's the power of the people you surround yourself with. It's a very powerful thing when you surround yourself with good company, like people who are thinking, who are brave enough and love you enough to give you that constructive criticism that you need to hear, even if you don't want to hear it. So be the change, but also be willing to surround yourself with the right type of people who love you, and who love you enough to tell you what you need to know and what you need to hear. And of course, I'll have to always say, put God first. If you put God first and you're connected to him, he will not fail you if you trust him.
Yeah.
My turn. Okay, so I'm going back to what Brian said earlier. Is everyone has a talent or gift? It was Brian or Aaron, talent or gift. And I just think about the quote is, "Life is God's gift to us, but what we do is our gift to God." So you have to tap into that and find your purpose. Like they should say, find your way, find your path, do whatever you're supposed to do, because that's the unique thing that's missing in this puzzle of life or this of this whole world. You got to be who you are. You can't be anyone else. We need you to show up as you. We need that. Life, society need, your friends need that. Your family needs you to show up as you and not try to be, everyone else. Just be you. Your uniqueness is important. So however you use that gift, that's your gift back to God. That's how you honor him and say, thank you, thank you for life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I say is, I always love this quote by MLK. Life's most pressing question is, what are you doing for others? And you two really embody that. And that is why you guys are successful. And that's, like you said, if what you do with it is your gift to God, and then God turns right back around, it's cyclical, and then blesses you guys with more. So, thank you so much for what you're doing in our small city of Albany, Georgia. It is greatly appreciated and greatly needed. That's why I mentioned it. That's why I had to have you guys. That's why we had to get you guys on here, because this need to be highlighted. And I check all of us here. Reshare the YouTube link back out. Send it to your friends. I find it that I just text people, hey, if you have an hour while you're cleaning up, screencast it to your TV and just watch vacuuming or whatever. And I promise you'll get something out of it. And I always get back, hey man, this is great. Y'all are doing a wonderful thing. Your girl Erin is onto something with what you guys are doing.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Erin, this is great. I thank you for allowing us to be a part of it. But just continue to do the great work that you're doing, and I promise you guys going to keep paying for it for you guys.
Yes,
that's right. Y'all keep going. Thank you all so much, and we want to have you all back. We want to talk more about real estate in depth. We would love that, Rashonda. We want to talk about passion, and we didn't even get to talk about your girls that you were. Carla ended her girls session tonight with her 20-year-olds, right? They're 20 something. And she actually ended it. So I apologize, young ladies. Thank you all so much for allowing her with us tonight. But we want to talk more about that as well, because it's power and connection, you all. It's power. Right. We can do more together than we can do separately. And you two show that. You embody that. So thank you all so much.
The next time we have y'all on, because I need to hear both of y'all saying something.
That's my former life. That's Carla.
These two can sing, y'all.
That's Carla.
Just go to my Facebook page. Just go. Thank you all.
Give us a tune real quick, then. Come on, give us a.
Y'all is ready. Go ahead, girl.
Go ahead, girl.
I do this little tune. Y'all know for Sister Act too.
Yes.
I tell my kids this because it made an impression on me, so I still sing it. If you wanna be somebody, if you wanna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thank you all so much for joining. We are about to log out. See y'all next time. Goodbye, you all.
Bye.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.